So I'm going to come back with the question of why should the president reshuffle his ministers? I'll take a break. When I come back, we'll listen to the president and then we'll take... and then also, remember, sorry, I have a surprise for you. But I won't tell you what the surprise is. When we come back, I'll introduce that person.
President Akufo-Addo's government has in recent times come under heavy criticism for the rising cost of living, inflation, general economic hardship, and the performance of some of his appointees. In an interview with Tamale-based North Star Radio as part of his working visit to the northern region, President Akufo-Addo rejected public calls to reshuffle some of his ministers.
Many of them, for me, have done an outstanding work. Their output has been considerable. And that's what I look at.
Okay.
There's an issue about reshuffle or the performance of ministers. It isn't as if it is something that every now and then my mind comes to.
Okay.
It's a daily preoccupation for me.
Yeah.
I'm required on a daily basis to ask myself whether the output of particular ministers is up to the mark. I am the final authority, and if they're not up to the mark, I'm required to act.
Yeah.
But if the output measures the expectations, then I don't have any strong reasons to heed the.
But for some experts, the continuous economic retrogression and near collapse of the economy requires a bold move by the president to either whip non-performing ministers in line or replace them with more competent hands.
Long overdue, there should have been a reshuffle because, what reshuffle does is that the market communicates, it listens to voices, right? I talked about, signal and voice, right? Regardless of what is happening, when you mention some names and say, okay, we're having some change, the market definitely is going to respond to it. And I think that fundamentally, we've had a finance minister who is in the second term, and I think he's done well. He needs to pat himself at the back, or we give him applause and bring someone in with fresh blood, fresh energy.
I strongly support the call for a reshuffle. And I think, the finance minister has done his bit, and probably we need new faces around the table.
A cross-section of Ghanaians also believe this is the opportune time for the president to show leadership by calling out non-performing ministers.
I don't know when Ghanaians break that dish, reshuffle the ministers, he has to refuse. He's the father of the nation. When we have to say something, he has to accept it.
Baby, I got an econo. Yaninje. Yaninje kura papa. Yaninje. Yaninje wa brabomo. It's a say papa. Ontinasi. Di. Nene crofon. Onsi so munyina baku. What by mistake be you?
We are not happy with the direction of the country. We are appealing to the president to dismiss non-performing ministers because they are here to serve Ghanaians and not for their personal interest. So the president must take action.
I want the president to change Honorable Amankwa Atta, the Minister of Road and Highway. First of all, why am I saying so? It's suggested that the road to booth will be used for toilet facilities. And then the president came back and said there will be need for the toll booth to come back. So if the president had gone ahead to use it for toilet facilities, and now he's saying he wants to come back with the toll booth, what are they going to use it for? Like, would they have used any other thing apart from the same thing? So I think the Minister of Highway should be booted out.
All right, so welcome back. You heard that, that's a short report, a brief report on the president's response to calls to reshuffle his government. Now, we have 10 minutes to deal with this subject matter. We don't intend to prolong it because a lot has been said in the course of the week, but there are stakeholders whose thoughts we still need to pick, and that's why we're here. I still have in the studio the Member of Parliament for Cape Coast South, Deputy Finance Minister. He's also a ranking member on the Privileges Committee of Parliament. That's George Kweku Rickett-Hagan is here with me. I still have government spokesperson on governance and security, or security and governance, whichever way it still works for us. And that's Mr. Pargriff Wachidankwa is still here with us. And also Michael Niabe is with the FES. That's the Friedrich Egberts Foundation or Stiftung. He's also here. There's a governance analyst. And then our well, call it a surprise guest, is the group within the New Patriotic Party that organized a press conference in the course of the week. I think sometimes 2nd August or so, 1st or 2nd August, and sought to mount some pressure on the president to reshuffle, because as far as they're concerned, the administration needs some fresh injection of ideas, and that from where they are the guys on the ground, things are not going well at all. The man is here with us. That's Kamal Amasaman Bruni. He is the spokesperson for the group. Kamal, it's good to see you. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing, my brother?
I'm
Good.
fine.
Now, my resource persons have been talking for the past 1.5 hours, so I'm not going to get them to start with this one.
Okay.
We just heard the president. We played the video of the president. His response to why he doesn't agree with you and all other persons who are asking that there's going to be a reshuffle. Now, part of the problem, so that his key amongst the reasons is that, how do you expect me to change the very people who were able to help me exit the IMF program from 2017 to 2019? How do you expect these guys? And again, these are guys that, as far as I'm concerned, based on the assessment and evaluation I've done, I'm fine. Everything is okay. So what is it that you are seeing that the president can't seem to see?
Well, Morals, first and foremost, thank you for having me here. And I'm representing AFA. I'm the spokesperson for AFA.
Right.
Well, if you look at the press conference we held the last time,
right.
I read the press conference, and we started that call because we are foot soldiers. If I say foot soldiers, we are down there, the grassroots. Let me put it on record that we are MPP members. 100% of our membership are all MPP members.
Okay. How many are you, first of all?
Our number is, I can't give you a limit. We are many. But when I take the executives of AFA, we are around 12.
Okay.
Yeah, 12
executives
of us are the executives.
Okay. All right.
But we have other members across the country.
Okay.
Yeah. So we held a press conference mindful of the fact that, yes, the president is the chief appointer, which we all agreed to that fact. But 2016, when we wanted power, we were down there in the trenches campaigning, going to house, and then, if I may even put it, door to door to campaign. We won power. We came again, 2020 elections, we campaigned, and 2018, I became a constituency executive, the electoral and research officer for Amasama constituency. I went for, that was an appointing position. I moved to an elective position, which is the Nasarawa coordinator. And currently I'm the Nasarawa coordinator for Amasama. And just as you said, no, the parameters with which the president uses is different from what we, the grassroots, are seeing. Because we are the first point of contact. And when you look at the reshuffle, I think many of this reshuffle has been narrowed to the ministers.
Okay.
No, our call is not only on the ministers. We're actually calling on the reshuffle of the MMDCEs, the chief executives of some state institutions, and as well as the deputy ministers.
Okay, so it's actually meant to be a comprehensive and a holistic reshuffle.
Not an overhaul. If you say holistic, it will look like a total overhaul of the
when I say
government.
holistic, it means it transcends beyond just ministers.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
MMDCs, the heads of some of the state institutions, and so on.
And me as a constituency executive, one of the key areas I even want the president to have a quick look at is the MMDCs.
Okay.
Yeah, because politics is localized. And the first point of contact or the people, these party people meet within their constituency are the MMDCs.
Not the MPs?
No, because the MPs, let me put it this way. If I'm, say, in Wa Central and my MP comes to Parliament, until they are on recess, hardly will I see my MP. But day in, day out, I get to meet my MCE.
Okay.
And when you look at after post-election 2020, I believe you heard it, and I'm a constituency executive, and I'm telling you that many of our, or some of our laws, parliamentary losses, can be attributed to the MMDCs.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because you have some MMDCs who are at loggerheads with their MPs. They don't see eye to eye. Meanwhile, development at that stage should be, they should be in unison together with the MPs so that they'll be able to further a developmental project in the constituency or the municipality. And it is based on some of these government projects that the MP can also ride on. Because MP bad for enactment of laws, what exactly can an MP do?
True.
But these are some of the issues. So for me, I want even the president should give this more of a serious concern than even, yes, the ministers to some are there, they are not up to the billing. So we equally feel like if he touches them. But per his response, well, we are disappointed per our press statement. As the chief appointer, what can you do? That's why our press conference, the word we used continuously was pleading with him.
Do I get the sense there's a lot of pressure on you from the people on the ground and complaining about the situation, the circumstances they find themselves in? And did you just decide to do this on your own, or it was based on a groundswell of, complaints and things from colleagues around, and that's why you decided that, look, not everybody can talk, but we will put ourselves together as a group and talk on your behalf? Was that what happened?
Yeah. Remember I told you we have membership across the country.
Yes.
So you get this feedback. And remember, even the party at post-2020, we had to go and do some research through the Osafomafos Discipline Committee to go and do some research and pick reasons why.
You lost.
And I was one of the people they interviewed,
Right.
wanting to know some of the...
And you're saying that these same issues are playing out?
Yes.
And for which reason you think that the president must do something about it?
Absolutely.
But the president says he doesn't see what you're seeing.
Well, if you look at the...
But the president receives, every morning, he receives report from national security as to what is happening.
You see, the briefing I will give the president
Yes.
as a full soldier
The national security can't
will
give
surely be different from what the national security will give.
Right.
Because my contact with what is happening on daily basis in my constituency is not the same as what the national security is going to give. I can tell you, maybe as of today, what is happening in Amasama. But probably the national security can only be briefing on either weekly basis or maybe monthly.
Okay.
When I can tell you what is pertaining as of today.
Right.
And remember, when we held our 30th anniversary, Thanksgiving anniversary at UPSA, before the president, these same food soldiers were chanting reshuffle.
True.
So it tells you how reshuffle is resonating with the people or
see.
party people.
Have you given up
On what?
on
The call?
constantly reminding the president?
No,
he is
we
reshuffled?
haven't.
You
We
will
don't
not?
despair easily. That's not our nature.
Have you channeled it through the party structures? General
No,
Secretary, party chairman?
Part of the press conference we read, there's a portion where we said that we are trying to create the avenue to have access to the presidency. Necessarily not the president, because we know of his tight schedule.
Okay.
So if you have access to the presidency, it can be the chief of staff, the vice president, or whosoever, any person that matters over there. When we have access with them and then we sit and probably put a sound argument before them, I'm sure when they if it's not the president and they brief the president, why not? He's human. He
Are
may
you
have a
expecting
change
the
of
president, the
stance.
vice president to invite you personally? Not you as in the group for a conversation.
I didn't hear that.
Are you expecting the president or the vice president to invite you, the group, for a conversation?
Oh, we are even knocking on the door. So when they call us, then that's
I don't know
that's
how
a
we're going to
great
do this.
opportunity.
We have just 3 minutes to wrap up on this conversation. So if everybody can just give their brief thoughts, I beg of you, because my production team is already breathing down my neck that we have to go. So just brief thoughts on this. I mean, you were reshuffled before. Can you relate to what they're saying?
Well, I mean, when you're a football coach and you have your players playing on the field and you are losing the game, you have people.
The president says he's not losing the
Well,
game.
that's the problem. You are losing the game, but you are saying that your players are absolutely styling. Then, of course, you can't even see the problem. You probably don't even realize you are losing. And therefore, and the other thing as well is that probably he's got his best on the pitch. Therefore, he doesn't know who he's going to bring if he's to take what he conceived to be his best on the pitch. And that is itself is a problem.
Okay.
I mean, you should be able to reshuffle if you need to. I mean, the finance minister is the one person I will call, nothing personal, but I think he's become beleaguered as far as the economy is concerned.
Okay.
His position has become untenable. This is somebody who doesn't believe in the IMF. You cannot send him to go and negotiate with the IMF.
Okay.
I mean, he should have gone himself.
I get that. Michael, I don't know how you're going to do this, because you typically would want time to exhaust your issues, but unfortunately...
Yeah, but I can do this briefly.
Just 2 minutes to go.
Right, so 2 things.
Yes.
Well, the president says that the performance of the ministers is very
crucial.
outstanding, and so he doesn't think that there's a need for any reshuffle. Indeed, so you ask yourself, as Kamal mentioned, what are the parameters, what are the indicators that the president is using because the people's expectations must be the overarching guide to the president's indicators. And so if same people are calling for reshuffle, it means that you may not be meeting the people's expectations. But let me maybe provide some little advice to the president. Now, with the same or almost the same number of appointees in your last term, you almost lost the elections of 2020. Look at what is happening in even Parliament now. You are at par with the opposition party. Indeed, the Speaker of Parliament is from the opposition party, with almost the same number of appointees you have. Now you are in your second term. We are faced with serious economic challenges. We are faced with serious democratic deficits. Ghanaians are talking. What it simply means is to listen and engage in some reshuffle that may bring some freshness, some hope, at least for Ghanaians to say, after all, there seems to be some hope.
The president thinks that the NDC, for instance, wants to destabilize his government. And that's why.
And that's what I raised earlier.
But
the last point, before I come to this, is the president should look at his own political party. The recent national elections they held, and the outcome of the elections, indeed, folks who either had concerns with the party now more or less feel, well, there's some freshness, there's some zeal. You talk about JFK, you talk about Intim. I mean, the optics and the renewal, that hope is necessary not only for the NPP as a political party. The president should take a cue from that. And think about the country and engage in this call for reshuffle.
Margaret, I beg you.
There's not much I can say in 60 seconds, but just to say we have heard.
That's right.
And I wish it gets
Kamal, you and your group have been accused of doing the bidding of some ministers who want to come in. And that you perhaps, well, he did not in so much words, but he sort of suggested that you are lobbying for some minister, for some other, persons to come on board to be appointed, and that's why you're doing all of what you're doing. It's are you being influenced by some persons within your party?
If you followed us through the whole of this discussion, we've not mentioned anybody's name. Because that's why we are trying to seek for audience before the presidency.
But you can't just say reshuffle when you don't have a list of people who you think are becoming a disincentive to the government.
We do.
Oh, you have a list?
We
Both
do.
at the ministry
Should we get the
level?
opportunity today?
You give a list.
We'll be able to tell why, if the reasons why Mr. A should be reshuffled.
Really?
Yeah, we do.
Does it include the finance minister?
We do. We don't want to preempt our this thing.
So you don't want to make the list public?
Oh yeah, you want to meet the president and then prior to you
seeking
for
before
audience,
you meet the president, you already have a list.
Then you put the name out. Then it's of no essence.
But you have the list.
The president. Oh yes, when we get the opportunity today, we'll furnish him, give reasons, because you just don't tell the president to dismiss. And Moro, before you leave, close the program. I beg of you.
Yes.
The president at UPSA begged us that he wants to hand over power to the next MPP government, so we should help him. We should help him here, include the full soldiers. We are also telling Mr. President, kindly do reshuffle and allow fresh hands to come. And lastly, before I go, in our press statement, we said, although this is not the outcome we expected, yet we are law-abiding and we accept the decision of the chief appointer, which is the president.
Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, good morning, Mr. Moro. Truth be said, I'm so disappointed in the government. If the president, for God's sake, this is not the way the president should be speaking to the citizens of this country. In any case, who are those calling for the reshuffling in this party? His own party people, Alliance of Full Soldiers. So please, Mr. President, turn your anger to your party people and leave the NDC alone. Mr. President cannot do the reshuffling simply because he has no men to do the job. And if he does, the finance minister should be the first to go. And the president, does not want it that way. Period. What a junk economy we have. God have mercy. And then finally, this one here from Papa Bisu says, good morning. The ruling party own people like Kojo Mpini, former chief of staff, and the Kufuor's regime. Kwabena Japan, Kojo Mpini, founding member of the MPP, Dr. Amakuba, a leading member of the MPP, Obrebo. And it goes on and on and on. It says, they say the center cannot hold. Total confusion and division in the party, hence the hopelessness situation we now find ourselves in. Papa Bisu from Accra. My name once again is Moradu. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.